Thinking back to your first weeks of transitioning into postgraduate research, what is the one thing you wish someone had pulled you aside to tell you?
I think for me, it feels normal to be uncertain. Like that's the huge thing that I always wished somebody would tell me. Like you feel a lot of uncertainty that is absolutely normal.
Hello, and welcome to the Honestly Honest podcast, a show where we discuss and demystify the MDHS Honours Program. I'm Ryan Johansson, the Honours Coordinator, and in today's episode, we are discussing the Honours Alumni Mentoring Program, what it's all about, and why it's beneficial to join the program as a mentee and continue as a mentor after completing your honours journey. Joining me today are Niru and Ihsan, current UNIMEL PhD students who are mentors on the program. I'd like to start with you introducing yourselves, please. Just tell me your name and what you're currently studying.
Hi, my name is Ihsan. I'm third year PhD student in medical biology. My background was computer science, and after a lot of work in industry, then I decided to do my PhD, and I decided to do medical biology, which is where my passion is.
Fantastic. Thank you. Niru.
Hi, my name's Niru. I'm also a third year PhD student from the Department of Anatomy and Physiology. My project's currently in cardiovascular neuroscience, and I did a Master of Biomedical Science before starting my PhD.
Fantastic. Thank you. It's great to have you both in here today.
Thank you.
We're going to jump straight into it. Can you describe the Honours Alumni Mentoring Program in your own words? What is it you're actually doing?
I think the main thing is to have a PhD student who is currently and actively doing in medical research or any other field, to connect those people to people doing already trying to choose to do honors, which is a really different part of education. They're trying to stepping a little bit into how science works, how the research and what's important, what's not, while fast tracking really a lot and hurrying up and trying to give them insights on what's to avoid and what's to do more, I think, in summary.
Sort of fast tracking some of that learning at the beginning.
Yes, give them some experience around the areas that they need to put their focus, which usually they don't know at the start where to focus, where not. And that's where it comes to the PhD students to do the job.
Fantastic.
I kind of take a little bit of a different approach to it. I kind of try to see myself as their shepherd, guide / mother duck, because Ihsan said, it's really quite different to undergrad. And when they get thrown in at the start, a lot of them are quite confused as to how to behave in that completely different environment. You know, they're not students just listening to lecturers anymore. They're really part of the conversation and actually really making sure that they guide their own research with the help of their supervisors. And so to kind of have more of a proactive role and take more initiative in things, I feel like it really helps having a mentor at the start.
Fantastic. It's more of should we say sort of a flatter playing field as opposed to just being told things and working together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what does a mentoring relationship look like in practice? Sort of how often do you meet and what does a meeting generally look like?
So I usually, at the first meeting with the mentees, I try to figure out what they want from me. But in the past couple of years, it's basically been a monthly meeting. And towards the end, if they need a little bit more frequent meetings or less frequent meetings, I really go off what they need.
So you're tailoring it to the students'
needs.
Exactly.
Most of the time I book a meeting room in our building because then we have a projector and a screen as well if they want to practice presentations or anything like that. But usually the first meeting is at a cafe just to kind of let them burst that little initial bubble and in a safe public space as well where they can run away if they want to. But
have you run away? No, of course not.
No one's run away yet.
No. Excellent.
I usually start by setting up a meeting, like welcoming them and saying like how much I appreciate for them to be in this connection, and I am really cheerful for that. Then for the meeting, I try my best. During these years, I learned that's like it's best to keep it really casual and unofficial. So I would go like make really everything about fun, making a lot of jokes. So like I usually start by saying like 3 things that I don't really like about science. And like these are the things that I really hated to do, but I have to do it. Like writing, like something that they really do not like to do, then try to like do it in that approach and guide it and try to understand where is each person's stand. Because like to my experience, people are really diverse and different in thinking. Some of them are already really like thinking and really they're a good scientist and they don't need me in the first place. So you need to make yourself useful to that person as well. In order to do that, you need to first figure out what's each person's stand. So to me, the first session would be measurement. From that time, we either go by a group. So that's on my decision. Either we go for a group if everybody's stand the same, or we go individual. I even give them the option of having individual talks and confidential talks. And we had these kind of like in harsh times, they reach out and they say like, I'm facing this problem. But two other things that I make sure happens. One is everything in the group that we're discussing is confidential as well, between you guys as well. So like you need to make sure. And also the third and last one is I try to make understanding like if one or two of my mentees are coming from the same lab, because like that's also something you need to take into account, because there is some hidden competition and those kind of things, because this is honors and it is highly competitive area of research. And if you don't want to go down that way, that like force two people that are competing with each other to reveal whatever they're doing inside, like in front of each other. That's like something that never gonna happen. And you need to understand that. So be ready for it and to accommodate them individually.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like you both do very bespoke things for students. It could be group or individual, or maybe a mix of both, and you're there not just at those meeting times, but obviously within reason they can reach out to you.
Like a safe space.
That's awesome. So what do you think the program offers a student that they might not get from their supervisor or their peers? What does a mentoring relationship provide them?
I think it's really good having someone that's not in the same lab as them as like a mentor or guide, because they might feel more comfortable speaking to you about certain lab dynamics that they didn't really want to raise to people in their lab. Or I've also had students in the past that just weren't sure how to ask their supervisors what they thought was like a dumb question. And so in the past, I've done like kind of like a little role play situation with them where I pretended to be their supervisor so they could get into the habit of asking those questions and treating their supervisor like a regular person, because that's what all supervisors are. They're all like regular people as well.
Absolutely.
And I think when honours students speak to other honours students, it's kind of hard to gauge for themselves whether they're on track or not, because it's the blind leading the blind, basically. So speaking to someone that's had some more experience helps, because then they can kind of say like, hey, okay, this is actually not normal, or oh no, I'm way beyond what I thought I was. So it's a good opportunity to get external advice and external perspective as well, which is really important.
Fantastic.
I think for me, it's the best thing that I can say is it's really different, the relationship between a mentor from a PhD cohort than supervisor and any other PhD student in the same lab as well. Because the thing is, like, you don't have any thing to benefit from, and you're completely volunteer to do this. And if you start well, if you made the situation really safe for them, they can really appreciate it and use it. And the way is, for instance, like one of the examples, if I want to give out, is like, imagine a student that we had, and she was really an awesome, top-notch student. But like, everybody had a lot of expectation of her. Imagine like everybody calls you, you're the greatest researcher that I've seen so far, even the postdocs. So that person's developed something inside that is not real. So people do not like say that you don't have to fail by saying you're a good researcher, but that person thinks I'm a good researcher, so there shouldn't be any risk of failure for me. And that gives that person really a lot of anxiety, stress. So when you jump in, so like she can't tell anyone because this is something between her and herself. But when you're a mentor, like made a really good safe place that comes, reach out and say, look, what can I do? There is something like I feel trapped. And you can say like, there is nothing you can do. You do your own thing. Let yourself, if you're gonna fail, let's be a failure. You're young, you can do a lot of things. And like personally, I give a lot of examples of my failures. This is not the end of the year. And like you give a lot, I gave personally a lot of papers that a lot of failures are the best analysis, the best experiments from the failure. And you say like, you shouldn't be scared of failure in the first place and start of your thing. And the other thing is like that person wants to move to a really high class lab, but like her current supervisor wants to offer her a PhD. And she's like trapped and say like, I don't know how to approach that person because I need that person's recommendation for going to that lab. And like, this is a jammed situation. And you have to say like, the strategies around the way and like all the things is like, if this program is not available, they can't have a person to say these things without worrying about the consequences. Because that person after that program came to me and I said, I told you because I know that like worst case scenario, you can't do nothing about it. Like, that's the reason. And that's like why it not only feels safe, it is safe. You don't have anything like in common with this.
Yeah. So, wow, that's got me thinking already. That's great. Goodness me. So basically, they may come to you with any kinds of question. It could be issues with relationship or how to ask a question, presentation help. It could be what am I doing after my PhD in this lab versus that lab. It's kind of a safe space where anything goes, really. Would that be a way to sort of frame it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, because I mean, with research, it takes up such a big part of your life, but also how you're feeling in your life can affect your research as well. So it's not, I make sure I'm very clear to them. They don't have to just talk to me about science. They can talk to me about whatever they need to talk to me about, even if they just need to vent. I'm here for them to vent at. But yeah, it's very important to feel safe and secure and stable, and that will help benefit your research, but it'll also just benefit your life in general. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever been asked something that surprised you, something that you hadn't anticipated a commencing student would be struggling with?
Honestly, no. I feel like over the years I've seen everything that I can think of, but I mean, now saying that I'll probably get a really wacky question this year from one of my students.
Murphy's Law.
But I think the most unexpected was probably in regards to a future career option that I had just never considered myself. But yeah, it wasn't hard to answer. It was just really unexpected in that I'd never thought about that career, like that specific career. I don't want to say in case the person is listening. But yeah, even then I was still able to help them because I kind of knew of a few people in a similar area, and I suggested that they reach out to them and speak to them and stuff. So yeah.
Excellent.
But I've also let them know that if it's a question that I can't personally think of, we've got other resources that we can go to as well. Like Reese has been great, and also just there's other resources that UniMelb offers.
It doesn't stop with you.
Yeah, exactly. I've made it very clear that I don't know every single thing in the universe, but I can guide them to who might know everything.
Fantastic.
For what they need to know.
Yeah.
I can't remember something like odd. I usually have. I was really privileged to have a lot of mentees, all really high standards in research already. They establish a really, really good track record of research. And like it was really surprising to me. So the honor for them was like a PhD. I can completely vouch for these guys that like they were doing a complete PhD within 1 year of research. And the pressure and the accuracy of the experiments and analysis they're doing, it's really remarkable. Because like that's the projects are usually in my institutes are well thought out. So like that's not a try and error for honors. It's like we in the whole institutes, we really trying our best to put something that gets to a really good results, to do a really good track record for that person. So that person doesn't feel like waste his or her time on that. But I got a lot of questions the moment I do a little bit about my background. Two main questions that I got. One is like why I stepped out of industry and come do a PhD. Like why? What are the main reasons? And the other is like why the hell are you changing from being a data scientist or AI scientist to come do like medical research? I'm doing epilepsy, children's epilepsy, and why are you doing like this hard question in the research? Like you can do in UniMel, computer science project in AI, exactly the same that you did. And like these gets to a really huge number of sessions and interesting questions and interesting sessions. But yeah, usually these two questions come up always. And I'm expecting now, but the first time it was really like...
You're like, whoa.
This is not about
Fantastic. Was there a moment where you've been mentoring someone that genuinely stayed with you, like, you know, might say like sits with you, got right to your heart, something you're going to remember forever?
Well, with the last year's group, we've been meeting pretty consistently, pretty much every month. So at the end, on our final session, we brought a bunch of snacks and basically had like a little end of mentoring party thing and just kind of just talked about like highlights, lowlights, just life kind of. And so that was really nice. It's just like a nice little way to say goodbye.
Nice bond developing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was also just nice to see that they had managed to finish honours relatively pain-free. And that, you know, we hadn't scarred them for life. So that was also just really nice. And I think it was a really lovely way to end the year.
Nice.
Yeah. And even after that, I still had one of them reach out to ask about something this year, like about potentially presenting, and they wanted advice on. So yeah, it's nice to know that they still can reach out to me.
It's a genuine connection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic. Isal?
Personally, like each year that happens is like you get a cohort and these guys are really like on a really fast track to do everything right. And you try yourself like the best of you to help them out and like not to be too much involved in their like that you get their effort and their energy out. You need to help them additionally, not in the middle causing a thing to think about. You need to reduce the amount of thinking and stress. But one thing that is always like happens to me is like after they're doing this presentation in our institute, there is a huge like 2-3 mini symposiums, all of honors are coming, and the moment that they step up and they're doing this presentation and you see like that person is so good and it's a really huge appreciation, and you say like I know that person and I know how well that person could manage the challenges because I know with the behind the scenes how like, wow, the situation is behind the scene and how good that person is in managing this. And I'm sure that person, but the next week that's like the honors are done, you go to the institutes and you don't see the honors. And like, that's always striking for me. It's like, there is like, this cohort was finished. It's fortunate you see a couple of them come to the same position, like doing a PhD in the same institute, but it's like not that frequent. You see everybody goes around the world doing a lot of other things. But yeah, a couple of them reach out and we hang out sometimes, going after works for a drink or something. But yeah, that's like one thing that I always see, and that's always like nothing
like a
you
proud
can do.
Parent moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like it's kind of a cyclical there. Like, you know, you're getting something out of this and so are they.
Yeah.
And this is just pride sort of going through the journey together and growing and seeing them grow. It must be very rewarding to see like, wow, there's Sally doing a thing. Yeah.
Sometimes it happens in a way that like, I don't even, like a person does not need any help from me. Just the thinking of me be there. Like after first session, afterwards, like after a year or so, he came to me and said like, you didn't do anything for me. And I said, yes. He said, but it was different because I knew you were there. Yeah. Because I got your emails. Because I saw that you're saying like, I am sure and 100% confident that you will nail your presentation. That was enough. Like that's for some people because like they're, as I said, they're really elite in their field and they're doing already really good. They did a really good undergrad. And like some of them, they don't like feel that need and they say like, let us be on the driver's seat and you need to let them. And but for me, the feeling is the same because like that people, you feel proud to get to know them because who knows, 10 years from now on, that guy gets a Nobel Prize. I know him.
You launch on LinkedIn. Hey,
yes. 10 years post honors getting a Nobel Prize.
Would be remarkable.
Yeah.
Let's say
I'm sure
happened.
So if I was a student like starting honors this year, I'm thinking, should I join the program? What would you say to them?
100%. Just I think like what Ehsan said, like just having that option there itself is great. But from what I've seen, like the students that engage with the program more, that just engage in general with their department more, they end up not only doing better, but also just feeling better about everything. And their work-life balance ends up being better, even though they're engaging more with uni stuff, which might sound weird to them. But yeah.
It kind of makes sense in a weird way. By doing more, it's actually less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because honors can feel really isolating, even though you've got a big cohort, like especially there's so many students in MDHS doing honors, but your projects are all so different and it's not like undergrad where you're all learning the same thing at the same time or doing the same assessments where you can ask each other for help. This is, it can feel very isolating, and that's been a common theme with students in the past. And so just having someone that's done the journey, that's been in science for a while to speak to get some validation, and also just have that sense of connection is really important.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convince
me.
I think there is no argument to convince here. One advice that I can give them is like, don't do this for your CV, because there are certainly a lot of good other things to do other than just writing a lousy sentence that I've been mentored in this mentoring program. But do it for yourself. Do it for your life. You get the chance to meet a person as your mentors. If you get to a good relation with that mentor, that person is always above you. So that person's continuing to be a postdoc while you're a PhD, like mid-level or junior researcher as you're doing your postdoc. So that would be a mentor for a life if you get a good connection. And be mindful. Go ask around for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go ask around for every successful researcher, every successful industry researcher or academia researcher, they will definitely tell you how important it is to have a mentor in life. And the only way that you can get a person as a mentor connection, not in like professional work settings, not in casual friendship settings, is a person, the two peers that they both are willing to do their job. And this is the place for it. And this is the best way that you can find genuine PhD students who are willing to give out what they didn't receive either, or they received well and they want to repay. And like these are the situations. So grab it. If I were you,
it's like a gateway into networking. Networking 101.
Is that what made you want to be a mentor? Was it someone that mentored you, or not having a mentor? Is that why you joined the program?
The best thing to put it there is like I didn't have any mentors, and it was so hard. And it took a lot of effort to figure everything out. And I wish that I had. I had a lot of good mentors, but like not in academia. But I got really lucky during my PhD. Like my supervisors are really great. And like, there isn't a single day that I haven't learned anything from them. Like it is always something new, and a lot of mentors now. But during those days, those stressful days, like projects, research projects, how to define a hypothesis, how a hypothesis is well defined or not well defined, those things, nobody there. And there were nothing that I could reach out to. So like I completely understand this, and I know how valuable this is for a really valuable and enriched resources at their disposal. So if I were them, grab them as soon as it can.
When I first started Masters, and I guess now as well, I'm quite socially anxious and just kind of awkward in general. But I was really, really blessed when I first joined the lab. We had a PhD student who took me under a wing, and she, made sure that I met with the student society and really put myself out there more. And she was basically, I guess, my mentor when I first started, and kind of helped me figure out my way in research. And so even though she wasn't like an official mentor, I guess that experience really changed things for me. I ended up deciding to join the student society and became president, and because she was president as well. And so it was just, I just wanted to be able to give that to other students.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So how do you think being a mentor has helped you in your PhD journey?
I think by reflecting on a lot of the processes, it kind of makes me realize, in a way, like where I've reached as well. And it's obviously developed certain mentoring skills and other communication skills and all of those wonderful things you can put on a resume. But in general, I guess it's kind of, what's the word? It's helped me to maintain my connection with the new students that come each year. I'm sure Asan will agree, like as we go further and further into PhD, it gets more and more stressful. So having that nice little innocent energy to be around is really nice as well. But yeah, I think it's just a really nice way to give back. Yeah. I don't know if that answered that question.
It kind of does. Yeah. We usually talk about processes and giving back. And how about you, Asan?
I personally got a lot out of this, aside from like the side of the whole program that is enriched with a lot of activities for us as mentors. So a lot of like leadership classes, those things that we usually take on and learn. Aside from all of those, the main thing is like I got two valuable things. First is like the power is in connection with people and how to connect. As a PhD student, you learn communication skills in a certain different way. So you learn how to keep it professional, communicate directly without flaws with your supervisors, how to prepare your findings and your research as a really good, well thought out presentation, how to write down a thesis, how to argue what you found, and these things. And none of these would tell you how to connect with a human being. Because like, let's say you're a really good PhD student, you have a successful career, and you're going to be a really fabulous manager somewhere or a lab head. Then what? You need to recruit people. And I think what's missing here is like some of the lab heads, until they become lab heads, they don't feel the urge, oh, now I need to recruit people, and now I need to know people differently, and I need to treat people differently. And that would be the difference. Like, some people would make a framework to treat everyone the same way, and that doesn't work. Because like, personally, I experienced this. You need to learn the skills to first weigh and measure people, then based on their need, support them, based on their need, give them something, or how to ask a question to get the answer. That's a totally different based on person and person. And I think the best thing is like, I learned how to communicate, where to explain myself, where to ask a question. And like, if I'm not useful, I need to be in the background. I don't need to like forcefully push myself in the middle of every communication. These are the valuable things that like you don't get out of a PhD, and it is like cherry on top to my
kind of like management skills, I guess. Like team management.
100%. And those are difficult skills to develop. I mean, I'm hearing out of that, you know, those career-sided skills and management, but also there's a self-satisfaction is not quite the right word. There's a warmth that comes from it. There's a giving. It's a different kind of personal kind of thing. Gosh, I've got no words for it, but I'm feeling it. It's a
very different relationship that you don't really get anywhere else. Like, it's similar to teaching, but not quite, because there's no really like authoritative position there. So it's it's very rewarding.
All right, I'm going to jump in now to our mailbag segment. We've got a question here from one of our commencing students. I'll see which one we get.
Yeah. All right. I thought you meant there was just one question in the bag.
There's one mailbag, many questions. All right, here we go. So, no thinking, just talking. All right, don't be shy.
Let's see.
All right, we've got an anonymous question from East Melbourne. Hi. I'm just starting honours, and honestly, I'm terrified. Everyone around me seems to know what they're doing, and I feel like I'm already behind. Is that normal? What would you tell me right now as a mentor?
It's totally normal. You're definitely not behind. I mean, you haven't even started yet. It's literally impossible to be behind. And there are days where I still feel like I'm behind, and it's kind of like that imposter syndrome, really. So I guess my advice would be, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, be completely honest and open with your supervisors, with the other students in your lab, with the other staff in your lab, and, you know, ask. They're probably the best people to give you a temperature check of where you're at. It's definitely, don't compare yourself to other students, because every lab does things differently. Every project is different. You know, if you're doing a lot of wet lab stuff and you compare yourself to someone that's mainly doing like computer level stuff, you'll feel terrible. Like, oh my God, I'm still doing experiments, whereas they're already knee deep in analysis. But you know, you just can't compare yourself. That'll probably be the biggest downfall, honestly. So I
think so.
Just jump in, ask questions, and don't be afraid.
Excellent. Great answer.
My advice, my first word would be welcome. This is, I personally have been feeling the same for 2 years of my master, and so far 2 and a little bit more than 2 years of my PhD. So welcome to this feeling. One thing that I need to tell you is, wherever you are, know that this feeling should not go away. You need to learn your way to manage it, because if you think it from the positive side, the same feeling is moving you forward. The same feeling is the fuel that gives you energy. Otherwise, imagine you don't have this feeling. If you don't have this feeling, you don't feel energetic to do anything. You say you're starting questioning why I'm doing this, because these feelings give you, I'm behind, and you need to do think about it. And you say like, okay, like knowledge is coming from the consciousness of me knowing that I don't know. And like, go ask the people that know a lot. And the people that know a lot would tell you that still we feel we don't know. And like, when you see this is a roller coaster. So like, sometimes it feels overwhelmed. If you feel overwhelmed, come talk to people, and like honest people that give you, instead of like trying to frame you in a way that like this feeling is wrong and like we're good. No, this is not. If you go to the background of that person that is giving you this advice, that person has a life crisis that is really good at hiding it from you.
So
Instead
true.
of doing it, it's just like everybody has a lot of problems. But when we go along, we get the experience to learn how to manage things, not to make things disappear. Things are there.
That's so true. Everyone's going through something and you just never know how deep it runs. Look, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much. If I was trying to wrap up all that wisdom in a few sentences, I mean, it's mentoring. It's a give and take relationship. It is about as much about the research as it is not about the research. It's an incredibly safe space where you can ask those, in quotes, silly questions, be yourself, sort of discover where you are as a person as well as a researcher. I'm going to sign myself up. I might just join Honours just so I can get a mentor, to be honest. That concludes season 1 of Honestly Honours. I would like to give a huge thank you to all of our guests. Hopefully we have demystified the Honours program for you. But if you have any questions about it, we've put links and contact info in the show notes. So feel free to reach out.